The NFL draft is over. Rookie drafts are beginning. It's time to sell those picks and find some points. It is the Dynasty Fantasy Football Roundtable. Davis Mattek, Jacob Sanderson, Pat Kerrane. We do this once every couple of months. Gentlemen, here we are. It's done. We don't have to wish cast anymore. We know who is on what team. We know that some of the rookies that we really liked are totally dead. Some rookies that we don't like are totally live. And, it's a great time. We have all, within the last 3 days, updated our Dynasty rankings. And this will become apparent when we get into some of the deltas, I did not do any market baking on my rankings at all. I wanted to do one run, not looking at yours, not looking at KTC, not looking at whatever, just to see where I was at relative to the field. So I have some rankings are good. You guys are going to be like, what on earth is going on here? This is crazy, but should be pretty in line. Kerrane, how excited are you for the beginning of rookie draft season?
I'm excited. It used to be, in the old days that like we were kind of alone and everyone else was like out frolicking outside and we were, thinking about fantasy football in April and May after the draft. The draft guys are like, all right, I'm on vacation. See you in June. So, or maybe I won't even be back till training camp. It's different now though with best ball. Everyone, in fact, like you almost like the wave of best ball comes crashing in,
right?
And then that kind of like calms down a little. People are just kind of getting in the groove now of just their drafted and everything. And now we can actually, now it's rookie draft season after that initial run of best ball stuff.
Yes. Jacob, I mean, are you about to say goodbye to your loved ones as you embark on 63 rookie drafts over the next 2 weeks?
Oh, dude, I haven't seen a lot of people. I had to not go to trivia on Wednesday. And I lied. I said I was slammed at work. That wasn't true. I had a normal amount of work, but I had to get out the rookie draft walkthrough. I was on the clock in about 13 different leagues. I had to make sure that I was trading down from the 208 to the 212, getting an extra 26 third. These are priorities in my life. This is unquestionably my favorite time of the fantasy season. I love rookie drafts. It's the best. It's the best for eyeballs on thinking about thinking. It's the best for my dynasty portfolios. It's just nothing better than sitting there on the clock, firing out offers, trying to min max like an extra third here, an extra second there. It's the best.
It is the best. I've already done a fair amount of business in my leagues, getting rid of. I'm trying to trade out of the 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5 as much as possible, and try to get to the next range, which we will have plenty of time to discuss on this program. So if this is your first time watching the Dynasty Rankings Roundtable, it's a pretty simple exercise. We have all done our rankings. This includes rookies. This includes veterans. This is the whole grouping. So we have ranked, all of us have ranked 250 players in Superflex tight end premium, which is kind of the way that we play. Frankly, I don't really think there's that much of a difference, tight end premium or not. I mean, maybe you boost Bowers and McBride up maybe a tier more in tight end premium. Obviously, a pretty big difference between Superflex and non-Superflex, but shouldn't be, if you are only in a single quarterback league, basically just pretend the quarterbacks don't matter. How about that? Because they really don't in a 12-team league. So Kerrane, I mean, the first interesting
in a 12-team league,
here,
you can just be like, I refuse to spend anything on quarterback. I won't do it, and that's how I've approached it. And you end up with like teams like that have Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. That's like I wanted that's like Josh Allen and Drake May. I'm like, whatever. But obviously in Superflex, I think is more. It's just more compelling to talk about from a rankings perspective because you do have to care about all the positions. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to completely punt quarterback and I'll be like one of the strongest teams in the league because I'm going to.
And it makes the rookie drafts have a huge wrinkle, right? which I'm sure we'll get into when we talk about one Mr. Cameron Ward, but you do really have to weigh, sure, I will pass up on this superstar potential guy, Hampton, Tet, Hunter, whomever,
Right.
because
Yeah.
as everyone who plays Superflex knows, even getting the quarterback 18 is just a gargantuan undertaking if you don't have him. If you want to go acquire, I don't know, Derek Carr, who right now is actively feuding with his team, going to his Las Vegas church and saying, the God has given me his greatest battles, the New Orleans
The
Saints.
New Orleans Saints.
Go try and trade for Derek Carr in your league right now. You will be quickly rebuffed if you try and get anything approximating a discount on Derek Carr in a lot of your leagues. So that makes rookie drafts pretty interesting. I guess let's start here. The only rookie to make our consensus top 20 is Ashton Jeanty. I ranked him at 13. Jakob, you ranked him at 13. Kerrane, you ranked him at 12. We all put him, or I'm the lone bear here, it appears, because I have Jeanty ahead of Bijan. I have Jeanty ahead of Gibbs. I have
well.
Brian Thomas Jr. Slightly ahead. I feel very good about Jeanty being the overall running back one. I would trade these crazy surplus packages to get him. Kerrane, how are you viewing Jeanty as a dynasty asset?
He's already getting drafted in the first round of best ball drafts. I was looking at Dwayne McFarland's projections on him yesterday, and he's like, basically, I think his ceiling projection was like 22 points per game. People are already very excited about what the production is going to be, and I think it's more than the excitement. I think the kind of the expectations, the reasonable expectations, lead to a lot of production from him out of the gate.
Sure.
And you're going to be able to bank that production and turn around and have someone who people are throwing these same Godfather offers at you next year. Like that's the position that you're in with Jeanty, which is just very rare at running back. If you are lucky enough to draft Ashton Jeanty right now, I would be planning to do that unless you truly get blown away by an offer.
I think
Totally
I
agree.
think that is true.
It's just so rare that you get a player, that has all this youth upside, that is a rookie, and that I think all of us probably have as a first round redraft pick, first round best ball pick.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I just think he's a little undervalued, to be honest, in best ball.
Agreed. Yeah. So it's just, to me, the most important thing in Dynasty, even more than value, is scarcity, where especially if you have a high value team, what matters the most to me is just to get access to those elite producers that are young, where you can consolidate a lot of the value in your lineup towards one lineup slot. And you can do it in a way that's going to be consistent year over year, that's going to produce a lot of points for you. And there's just not that many players that are in like this ilk of elite producer plus well below the age apex. So to me, like, not only do I have to win on value to trade away Ashton Jeanty, I have to get, one of those other pieces back, and ideally a little bit of plus. So like, I just won't be coming out of rookie season, underweight on Ashton Jeanty. I'm not willing to. So I'm more likely to trade up into the 101 than I am to trade out of the 101. The only scenario I would trade out of the 101 is if I have just like a horrible value team that got the 101 naturally because it's totally hopeless, and I get like an offer of like 3 base first plus or more to replenish my team. I consider that, and then I'd probably try to trade for him in a different league to compensate for it.
I have one of those, a natural 101, where I'm truly bereft of like anything. Like the best asset on the team is Bo Nix, so it's pretty dead in the water, and it's not a very active trading league. So I'm a little bit flummoxed as to what to do. Like the 3 base first is going to be a hard offer to pull out, but we're gonna do our best. Brian Thomas Jr. I left Brian Thomas Jr. as a first round startup asset. I have him at 11. Like I said, I've done no market baking here, so I could be convinced to move him down. Kerrane, you have him at 17. Jacob, you also have Brian Thomas Jr. at 17.
Look at us.
Are you guys, do you guys think I should move him down? Could I convince you that Travis Hunter might actually be a good thing for Brian Thomas Jr.? Would that be an argument that you were open to? Because I think that is the argument I would like to make for Brian Thomas Jr., that having another game-breaking talent is really good for Trevor Lawrence, really good for the team. And obviously we have seen this Liam Cohen offense, absolutely be able to feed two guys. And there's the big thing is there's absolutely no third guy who will demand the ball at all. Like we're talking about De'Ami Brown or Gabe Davis or Parker Washington, like an 8% target share guy is going to be on the field with them.
I'm into Brian Thomas. I like the land. I like the pairing of him and Hunter. I did move him down a bit, but I kept him in the same tier. So it's not like I'm, shooting him way down the ranks. I just moved him in behind the top 3 running backs. I had him ahead of all the running backs prior. And I moved him behind Amon-Ra, just because of a slight risk to that upper ceiling volume versus guys that I thought were pretty similar bets anyways. But I would be fine if you wanted, to push him back above of those guys. I think it's marginal. Overall, I would say I'm certainly more inclined to be sending offers out to buy Brian Thomas from anyone who's a little bit scared. Because like all over my Twitter, at least after the Hunter pick, I was talking about, I think this is great for Hunter. People are in my mentions either disagreeing or they're saying, does that mean it's bad for Thomas? Like people aren't into the idea of 2 wide receiver ones. People love the idea of a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2. And there can only be a 1 and there can only be a 2. So despite the slight move down and being behind you, Davis, like I agree with most of what you're saying. Overall, I just have him behind a couple other dudes that I have valued basically the same.
Yes. So
that's how I played it too. I think if you could, I had like Puka, it was behind Puka and stuff. And after the draft, you're just like, no, I'd rather have Puka, but I'm not panicking at all on Brian Thomas.
Yeah. There obviously, I don't think there should be any panic. And the thing that I like about spots like this is it actually probably makes him gettable. It makes him more acquirable. Just that little element of doubt in a way that like CeeDee Lamb or Malik Neighbors or these guys are like, even if you offered someone whatever their trade calculator of choice fair value is, the gut response from that person is going to be to say, thank you, but no thank you. But maybe there will be a slight element where they are pretty interested in that. We all have identical rankings on Drake May, which I think is very funny. 20 and 21.
Not shocking.
Welcome, boys.
You're the low man, Pat. You got a one spot behind us. What are you doing?
You have a one spot.
Let me fix that.
You have one spot below.
One spot up.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Now, Marvin Harrison.
I'm not biased. Everyone accused me of bias. I was just early. That's all.
I think having Marvin Harrison ahead of Tet is pretty interesting. That we're all just kind of doubling down on a guy who, like, let's just be honest.
Yeah, Jacob doesn't.
I'm not.
Where do you have Marvin Harrison?
I have Ted at 28. I have Marvin at 30.
Oh, there you go. So I have Marvin Harrison.
They're not big differences from you guys. You guys have like that in reverse, but
yeah, I think that that is a very interesting, like, sort of case study of the devil you do know versus the devil you don't, because some of what's sticking with Marvin Harrison is how good we thought he was as a prospect, not what he did on an NFL field. Because let's just be honest, he was not good last year. He basically, you take away one quarter against the Rams, and this dude was Greg Dortch.
He was going
good. Come on, man.
Like Rome Odunze was not good last year.
It's great.
Marvin Harrison was fine. Like if Xavier Liggett had Marvin Harrison season, I'd be pumped.
Come on, he was disappointing. Man. But we put a lot on him, man. We
did put a lot on him.
Amazing right away, and he wasn't. He was not amazing. And the other thing, and this is a mortal sin in fantasy, is he actually got worse down the stretch as a rookie, which we're not going to be okay with.
Fantasy football playoffs: 2 for 32, 4 for 39, 6 for 96. If you take away his game against the Los Angeles footballing Rams, he had 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. Less, actually. 580 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, he's that was the good game. That was the
sure.
he had 130 and 2. That's sort of the promise.
Right.
He also did go 111 and 1 against the Dolphins. And yeah, I mean, against the Rams again, that's that 96-yard game. He went 5 for 63 and a touchdown in week 18. So, but I just remember as we were like kind of coming down the stretch here, like, week 10, 11, 12, and so on. I was kind of in this mode where I was like, look, guys, Harrison hasn't been what we thought, but he hasn't been bad. And then each week he would be bad, like 1.15 yards per hour, 1.28, 1.23, 0.97, 1.03. I'm like, kind of towards the end of the season, like, this is not fun anymore for me to defend this guy. But he still finishes up with 1.63 yards per route run over the whole season. And that's the thing that's going to matter the most going forward, is like, how is his rookie season in total? We shouldn't punish him for being so good of a prospect that he immediately gets on the field and actually starts producing. That 130 yards, that was in week 2. That was in his second game of his entire career. He also, that 111-yard game and a touchdown was in week 8. So like, the fact that he actually produced early is bullish. That's like, again, backing up this prospect profile that we had, that he's good enough to be a pro right away. So yeah, he was a big disappointment last year, but he's still one of the best wide receiver prospects ever. Still the number 4th overall pick last year. And I think still in a pretty decent situation as far as, the quarterback play and the offense for him to be productive. Not that Tet isn't, but I would say, like, I think Harrison's probably like, the floor is not like uber scary to me. And maybe I'm off for market there, but I'm like, this guy can play. Is he going to be amazing? Is he going to live up to the prospect profile? Is he like kind of the next Amari Cooper, and that, like, amazing prospect, okay, pro. That's definitely on the table, but they're like, oh, this dude sucks, is, I think, you at least don't have that. And I still feel like the ceiling is really, really high for what he could be as a second or third year player.
That's probably fair, but I might just be tempted. And funnily enough, I actually don't really have a ton of him. I would maybe lean a little bit more towards him being a sell than a buy. And maybe that just makes me too much of a prisoner of the moment. He does, like, you could make an argument, Kyler a little bit further removed from this ACL. Like, Petzig has had an offseason to digest what went wrong with their offense. Maybe they rely on James Conner a little bit less because he's, I believe he's entering his age 30 season. Like, I think you can make a lot of arguments for Marvin Harrison. I don't know if I would make them, but you could make them. Jacob, what say you about Marvin Harrison?
I've been
Jr.?
selling the shit out of Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I think that he's a terrible bet. Like, I have a friend of mine who I consider an awesome Dynasty player who has been buying a lot of Marvin Harrison. I don't think that's like a ridiculous thing to do. I think that he will not be priced where he's priced now next year. I'll put it that way. He's either going to show that he is the prince who was promised and be valued, right where we just talked about Brian Thomas being valued, or I think he's going to plummet pretty far down the ranks once that helium from sort of what he was expected to do goes away. I'm not, burying him in my rankings by any means. I have him ranked like 2 and 3 spots behind where you guys have him ranked, I think. But my view of it is just, if I can get an equally young player who projects similarly or better, and I don't have to deal with that player having just had kind of an iffy rookie season, I would just rather take that bet. So to me, like, I can just re-roll the Marvin Harrison bet on Tet, and in the market, I can actually usually get a plus on top. Then I'm just doing that. So I've sold Harrison a couple times already in rookie drafts in deals for Hunter or McMillan, and getting a plus on the Hunter McMillan side of things. So that's just been sort of how I'm approaching it. Is like, if someone's willing to pay me for things about Marvin that I didn't see on the field, then I don't really feel like I'm like missing out on not accounting for that, because it's being accounted in as inflated market value. Like, if you're getting Travis Hunter plus for Marvin Harrison or Tet McMillan plus for Marvin Harrison, to me, you're being paid off for that idea that his prospect profile exceeds what we've seen in the NFL. So I don't then you
Right.
actually take that risk by holding it.
No, I mean that's totally fair. I've got him like 3 spots above T-Mac. So if you're giving me a plus, that plus is probably enough to close the gap. Where I wouldn't be giving plus away to go trade for T-Mac.
No, I wouldn't be giving plus away.
Which is why I have him ranked above.
I don't do my rankings in like a market adjusted way. I do for rookie rankings. I have specific market adjusted rookie rankings. Just the ADP changes so quickly. I don't try to update my ranks based on the market. I always just recommend.
Mine aren't based on the market either.
Okay.
This is just I have these.
So like my view is like I would trade in a vacuum. I would trade Marvin Harrison straight up for Tet. But I know that that's not necessary in the market.
Yep.
So I don't recommend you do it, but I prefer him straight up.
Can I ask you about what you said about his value plummeting? Because like you have JSN above Harrison. I think JSN, he had a better rookie season than JSN, like definitively.
He sure did.
Yeah, and I could see him easily putting together the type of second season that JSN just had. But that's still not what was promised, like even close to what's promised. So right. Then you head into year 3, and I don't know, maybe McBride has fallen off. Maybe now McBride's the one we're worried about or something to kind of make it more JSN-y. But JSN's value hasn't plummeted, and he's just not been. Really
year.
He was okay. If Marvin Harrison does what JSN did last year, we're not going to be like, okay, he did it. He's what we hoped.
Yeah.
And
I think in part probably does stay about the same in value.
Yeah, JSN was at 1.81 yards per route run last year. He had a nice stretch of production, but he had 3 100-yard games last year. We just talked about how Harrison had 2, and he was at 96 once. So, although JSN was also at 95 once, but yeah, it's like an improvement, but it's nothing crazy. So, I think actually that if Harrison just like improves, I think he'll hold value in the same way that JSN's like prospect profile, I think, is still doing some of the work here. Entering year 3 of like, okay, this dude's on the right path now. We're going to get a secondary breakout from him. I think Harrison can put together a similar season, and I mean, frankly, they're going like back to back in redraft off the season that Marvin Harrison had last year. So
I'm going to flip those.
I think the value floor is a little higher.
Tad ahead, but I think I overestimated JSN's season based on how it felt versus the stats that you're laying out. So I'm going to flip those two right now.
It definitely, I mean, JSN's season felt better than it was because the expectation from people who believed in him was probably that he was going to be brutal, right? Like the biggest JSN slappies were the people who were most burnt. I think we should talk about Saquon Barkley. I'm basically a full round of startup value ahead of you guys on Saquon Barkley. And maybe, I mean, push comes to shove, maybe I'm a smidgen high, but I do think kind of interesting in terms of Dynasty. How do we respond to Dynasty to the macro trends that we're seeing in the NFL where they're valuing the running back position more? Barkley is in like the most nutted spot imaginable for his style of production, which is getting these big, crazy running lanes, a team that wants to run the ball, a team that has a good defense and is going to be in all these positive game scripts. Like, and Barkley is not even that old. And he's
not young.
No, I mean, he's not young. He's
28, turns 29 in February.
It's his age 28 season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are we recalculating running back aging curves with Derrick Henry last year? I would say I don't want to.
I just don't believe your ranking. I just don't believe for a single second that if you were on the clock at the 103 and someone was like, here's Saquon Barkley, would you like to trade your 103 for Saquon Barkley? You're not clicking accept. I know you're not.
Jacob, you just broke Davis on the stand. He immediately.
No, you broke me. You broke me in action. Like, I think there is a clear thing you have to understand about me. There is a difference between I can know the right thing, but I can't help myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't learn. I
So
put
you're
my
saying
hand.
you think Barkley should be valued higher, but you just don't actually have the ability to trade Ted McMillan for him.
Philosophically, I literally can't do it, and that's probably a losing decision.
Okay.
You are probably so much more likely in the next 2 years to add points and wins to your dynasty roster with Saquon Barkley than Ted McMillan.
Well,
Like,
of course.
almost
But
assuredly.
that's not all of what of course.
Of course, that's not.
You're
that's
more
not
you're
all.
more likely to have more points than your team from Derrick Henry in the next 2 years.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why don't you trade it for Alvin Kamara, Davis?
Dude, I'm actively. You guys mock. I have some.
Joe
leagues where
Mixon
I'm
is in your
actively
inbox
trading
for the
these
103.
guys.
Joe Mixon for that. Let's do it.
I guess I probably should move him below. I don't know, man. He scores a lot of points.
Let me make this argument because I this is guys. I want you to think as I do this how brave I am. That's in the face of last season.
This is why
I don't
we have
think
the exact same rank on Barkley, so we can link arms through this moment together. Nobody has to stand out. It could be like a hoplite formation.
Yeah, I'm Jon Snow right now. Here comes the charging herd of horses against me. Anyway, the situation that he's in is awesome for him now.
Yeah.
But is not necessarily such a great spot as he ages. The second that Barkley isn't the superhero that he was last season, all of a sudden we're going to start to have more questions about this particular setup because he was only targeted 43 times last year. That's the lowest we've seen in his entire career outside of 2020 when he only played 2 games. And he played 16 games last year. So in seasons where he was playing 13 games, he's getting 57 targets, 73 in his second season. Right. When he got on the radar is like, well, he was always on the radar, but when he delivered on the promise in his rookie season with immediately producing a legendary season, ends up being the 101 in startups the following year. I know because I took him over CMC, which still hurts. It was receiving actually that was driving a ton of his value. 121 targets as a rookie, 91 receptions. He had 721 receiving yards. He had 278 last year. He went 33, 278, and 2 last season. I don't think that that's like really going to change, that this offense will be like dumping it off to the running back a bunch going forward. You do, I suppose, at some point, if they ban the tush push, maybe there's additional rushing touchdown upside. But he ran for 13 touchdowns last year, in part because of his unbelievable breakaway ability. I don't expect that to fade this year, but at some point it will. And if it does, all this, you're like, okay, I've got a 2-down breakaway back whose breakaway ability is in decline. And it's just the window for when you can sell him is tight. Whereas like with CMC, he gets back out on the field, even if he's lost a couple steps, he's still going to produce like a lot. And so you're going to be able like, here he is. He's still chugging along. I know he's kind of a rental, but like he's a very, very productive rental. Where Saquon, if it slips a bit, I don't know that he's that ultra productive RB1 type of rental.
To me, it sounds like you're coping and seething, Kerrane. That just was cope and seethe right there. No, I mean, of course you're right. Of course you're right. But these are the same arguments we made to be against Barkley last year. And I guess the answer is there is no way of knowing when the gravy train will stop. Now, we being the nerd.
To me, it reminds me more of Henry, of how we treat Henry. Like you're like, well, he's going to slow down, and like he just hasn't slowed down, and so that's how my argument would look really foolish. Is like he just doesn't slow down like for 4 more years after this, and is crushing. I think that's how the Barkley dynasty bet pays off. I'm not arguing against him in redraft, by the way. Like, we've all capitulated. We take him in the first round.
You take him in the 102? No, you don't. Come on.
Yes, in best ball, I'm not
really?
I'm not fading. Are you hard fading?
I will have. Yeah, I will say 0% Saquon Barkley.
Well, you just subbed in for me. It's the format has changed. It's redraft. I'm handing you my John.
And you know what? It worked last year because I took 0% of Christian McCaffrey 2 years in a row, and it was really painful the first year, and it felt really great the next year. So I'm doubling down. I'm backing up McCaffrey this year, by the way.
McCaffrey high.
Me too. McCaffrey.
By the way,
it's great. I haven't collected in 2 years.
56,
Awesome.
62, 63.
Gets the juices flowing. I just think with Barkley, like at that part of drafts, I actually am not that against old dudes later on in my drafts. But at that section of drafts, I want guys who I can envision being in the first round of a startup eventually. Saquon Barkley will never be valued higher.
Never.
Now. He just had the best season he's ever going to have in his whole career, and he's only getting older. So I just think it's a process thing in Dynasty where that's not an area of the draft that I'm looking for pure points. I'm trying to maintain value while I score, even if I'm scoring a little less. When I get down and the opportunity cost is way lower and I only have to pay far reduced prices for the Devontae Adams and the Mike Evans, whatever, I'm more into making those bets because I don't feel like I'm giving up quite the same opportunity cost of player to go and get them on my roster.
All right. Can I please take you guys to task for your Bucky Irving rankings?
Yeah, go for
guys,
it. Oh, Pat's even higher than me. Oh, all right. Mark's safe.
This is a day 3, 190-pound running back
who rules.
I look. I'm getting ready to do the disingenuous thing you guys just did with Barkley. Yes, he absolutely does rule. This guy. How many times can we possibly Lucy football these guys in our life?
Well, usually
I can't think of any
backups.
I can't think of any guys without awesome draft capital who are undersized who are going to be producing a bunch this year. Let me think. Oh wait, Kyren Williams, Chase Brown, Devon Achane. Yeah, I can't think of a single one.
I feel as if the Lucy football is about to actually happen to Kyren.
The football's dude. Lucy's chill now. She grew up.
dude. Lucy's so chill now. Lucy doesn't even care anymore, man.
Dude, if you talk to Lucy, she's super chill.
Lucy really actually wants you to kick the football now.
She's totally into you kicking the football now.
It's got. I will say this: my bearish ranking on Bucky has absolutely nothing to do with his production last year or who he is as a player. It's literally just a heuristic to keep me from getting out on my skis because my impetus last year would have been to or actually a very comparable
Jacob,
player
can you cross-examine the witness here? I'm pretty sure we can get him to admit.
Well, look,
he wants that
I'm 20 spots lower on Chase Brown than you guys too. Because I even when I like the guy, even when I like the guy, it's just a heuristic.
Spots above Chase Brown. Who are you? What? Who hurt you?
You know who hurt me. You know exactly.
Washington.
We're literally talking about the man.
Johnson.
Jacob. Yeah. Derrick
Come
Henry.
on, bro.
Jonathan Taylor.
Bucky Irving was one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL last year. He's had a great, fun offense. The coaching staff keeps raving about him. They didn't add any running back competition. I don't know. I just don't know what you're afraid of. We're through the draft. We're through free agency. Is Rachaad White going to appear again from the dead to take his job?
Yes.
No, that's not happening.
No.
Why would that happen? Why would that happen?
Reappeared from
Why
the
would
dead
a coach
to kill
ever
Dameon
give the ball to
Pierce?
Rachaad White, who's already decided that they would rather give the ball to Bucky Irving instead?
This is different than Dameon Pierce, man. Dameon Pierce was in the right place at the right time. And if you look at the efficiency stats at the time, it was Dameon Pierce, where were we ranking him in redraft the following year? It was I don't know, maybe the 6th or the 7th or something. He was seen as a very unappealing dead zone type, let the boomers have him kind of running back, even as a second year running back. Irving was very efficient last year and much more efficient than Rachaad White. And the whole thing is dude, White is not a good runner. And Irving immediately showed he's much better than White as a runner. And honestly, I think he has room to grow potentially as a receiver. He's efficient as a receiver. Some of the pass blocking stuff as a rookie wasn't great, but maybe not every, but most rookie running backs just aren't very good in pass protection. That's the type of thing. When I was doing the research for the Legendary Running Back series, one of the big things is don't project receiving increases for these running backs based on oh, there's more opportunity. Like they're going to throw to him. Like if you're talking about a running back basically across the board, it's a really dangerous thing to do to be like, and now he'll be getting a ton of receiving production unless it's a second year back. That's the one time where you can actually hope and dream on like this dude's going to unlock a new part of his game. He gets an entire NFL offseason with the Bucks to prove that he can actually be someone they leave on the field all the time. The setup's really nice. We're taking him at the 2-3 turn. We're taking him above Josh Jacobs. Like Davis, you're taking him above Josh Jacobs in best ball, right? And this is Dynasty, so you get the age for free. Like,
but the thing is,
put
like,
him
when
ahead of
Davis
Jacob.
does Dynasty rankings, he's not like, what do I do? He's like, what don't I do? And I should rank
When I
this
do
thing like-
no, when I do Dynasty rankings, I do what should a rational actor who comes into it without my biases as a slappy.
But why do you always assume that the rational actor shares none of your opinions? Like, why do you why do you look
let me tell
critically
you
upon your own rationality?
I like how you take that
let
hat
me-
off and then you try to draft off these. Like, these rankings suck, dude. Give me Bucky.
No, it's
You're
funny.
like, it's time
I
to be
generally-
rational. Everything's the opposite of what I think.
For best ball, I generally find I like my teams way better when I do actually follow my own rankings, which are my logical rankings, not my brain, like not like my biases,
Okay.
like following them in. Like
You have
when
Jeff-
I
I know what you're
Bucky
talking
Irving?
about. I try to be more rational as a ranker than I am as a drafter.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a hard time, but I know what you mean.
and the Bucky thing is like, sure, I felt this way about a lot of guys, and then it like Kenyon Drake was like, yeah, dude, wheels up, Kenyon Drake, bro,
Yeah,
and then
but no, Bucky Irving's better than Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake was like, he had nothing
Also-
impressive in his profile and like a bunch of volume, and he was fast. Like he doesn't.
The
he didn't
Kenyon
have
Drake
the
stuff-
profile that Bucky has.
Like Kenyon Drake was on the Dolphins and didn't do anything, and then went to the Cardinals, and he was like this old veteran that we got excited about. Kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like this veteran who hadn't proven it, and then we like put all this work on him from a projection standpoint, and it didn't happen. It fizzled. I don't know.
right.
I mean,
I'm ready to take Kerrane to task on a guy now.
all right. Good.
JJ McCarthy, dude, come on,
Yeah,
believe
come on,
in
bro.
something. You want to talk about being unwilling to
Have a
believe
little
in
love in your
something?
life.
Can we believe in a guy on a 5-year rookie contract in a dome for at least 9 games a year, throwing to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Ty Felton, TJ Hawkinson? Can we believe in something, Kerrane? What is going on here?
Can we believe in Kevin O'Connell? Can we believe in
Can you-
Sam
We can
Darnold
believe in
not
Kevin
being any
O'Connell.
good?
I honestly thought I
Sam
was.
Darnold
believing
got
in Kevin
$100
O'Connell.
million.
Are you guys familiar with the concept of passing volume and the need to drop back like more than 8 times a game to deliver
Yeah, they
fantasy
throw.
value?
What does Kevin
Not
O'Connell done, like,
JJ.
the low pass
JJ's
rate guy?
thrown. He threw like I believe the number was 14 pass attempts in his entire
Oh my
Michigan
God.
career.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I missed.
well,
this. Is
no,
Jim
the
Harbaugh
good
coaching the
Kerrane.
Vikings now?
Kerrane, the good
Oh, he's
stat-
not. Oh, okay.
The good stat is that Caleb Williams completed more passes in college than JJ McCarthy attempted. That's
That is a good stat.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't know. Like
Like,
McCarthy.
Kevin O'Connell's always been pass heavy. He's gonna just become like a big running the ball guy with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason because of JJ McCarthy, who he went and drafted 11th overall.
No, I
over.
mean, in all honesty, as far as the pass volume stuff goes, the reason it concerns me is because like I don't have a lot of faith that JJ McCarthy's any good at all. Like he's
Not
an
relevant.
okay prospect.
No,
He's now in a really good situation. But
I have faith. I just want to.
I
I
really
just want to be
don't.
on the record.
I don't have
I
faith. I,
think
just
he could
don't
be a
think it
legit
matters.
bust.
I think Pat Kerrane could be a QB1 in the Minnesota Vikings.
I don't think it's like crazy that he could be like the next Mac Jones. Like he could.
I
could
think
be like
Mac
that.
Jones. I think if Mac Jones was drafted to the Vikings and remained on the Vikings, he would be ranked about 45th overall in Superflex Dynasty right now.
All right, so I lose on this rank even if he's Mac Jones.
Yeah,
Like I just think,
so.
like
Right.
I felt like I spent all summer last year being like Sam Darnold is terrible, and if he starts, he will be a top 12 quarterback. And I don't actually know that JJ McCarthy's terrible. He might be, but I think it probably still doesn't matter.
I
He
think
might also just be
JJ
good.
McCarthy is trending towards being good, and could be. You want to talk about a guy? he can't be a first round startup pick. We could do this exercise a year from now, and we could be ranking him at 19.
I just don't think we would. Like that seems he doesn't really run. So you're gonna have to.
He does run a little bit. He kind of runs.
Where do you guys have Bo Nix?
That's a good.
Well,
question.
I'm kind of low.
I'm at 26.
I don't really respect.
I have him at 30. I have him at 30.
Yeah, see, that to me feels like where we could be talking
if
about.
McCarthy,
with
if McCarthy does Darnold's season from last year, I'm immediately ranking him ahead of Bo Nix. Bo Nix is also like older.
Well, yeah. I guess maybe that's like part of it too. It's like I just don't think he's going to be able to do what Darnold did this year. Maybe not that he's like ever not going to be able to Darnold did, but some of Darnold's flaws, I think, are actually why he was able to do what he did last year. Like he's kind of he's willing to kind of take risks, and if you protect him really well, then like he's got a lot of knowledge about how to play the sport, and was frankly a better prospect than JJ McCarthy. He has a high ceiling until he doesn't, right? Until all of a sudden it's all falling apart. But when things are going right for Sam Darnold, it can go really right. I'm not sure that McCarthy even has that. I probably have him a little too low. I'm going to move him up like 5 spots, but I'll still be behind where you guys are.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's like that much value to be gained here. Like maybe another 5 spots up ish, to kind of in that Bo Nixian range, because he's not really a rushing guy. He's a pocket passer. He's semi-mobile, but more like a Nix than even a May. And I guess he could, like, if he's just incredible as a point guard in this offense, then sure, he could be up with. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, like he could pass Herbert, I guess, but that to me feels like a pretty thin outcome, which means he's probably going to go in the late 20s, early 30s in startups next year if he hits. And I don't know if he struggles as a functionally rookie, given that he's not a rookie, and given that we just saw Sam Darnold do really well in this offense, how much patience are people going to have for that? It's like, oh, he sucks in a way that could even be unfair. Like, right. This is the setup. You have Kevin O'Connell. You have the best weapons in the league, and you can't even like. I'm dealing with like low end QB2 production out of you. Like, this is atrocious. Like, this is the worst pick. They should have kept Darnold. The Vikings completely blew this situation. People are going to be angry if he doesn't produce, which I think he probably will produce.
That part is true for sure. I just think he's going to produce.
I do think he's going to produce, but I guess like you want to talk about,
he can make the throws he needs to make. Like, the only quarterback I've ever seen fail in a system this good is like Trey Lance. But Trey Lance like can't
challenge accepted. KOC.
Like I know that. Like I don't know that JJ. I will resuscitate Trey Lance for my next stat.
Well, here's what I'm wrong
I'll
about.
make Trey Lance's flaws disappear. I do think JJ, like, he can rip a 17-yard dig route. Like, I think he can do that at least. RJ Harvey, Davis, like, you're just doing performance art at this point. Like, do you just like hate everything fun?
I moved him up. You guys convinced me to move him up to 46. So
I got to move him way up. I'll probably move him. Honestly, I'll probably move him up about 40 spots. From this, I'm the low man at one. Like I said, I did not do any market checking. I did no market baking.
You didn't do any Davis checking. Come on, like, I know you want to be in on RJ Harvey.
You know who I want to be on.
What was your product? Like, what did you do? Did you like? Do you get like you pour yourself a glass of brandy and like sit in an old?
Well, I had my old
chair.
Rankings. I had my rankings.
How did you get in this mindset?
I had my rankings from like March or whatever, because I did an updated set then, and that was what I had to go off of. And this is where RJ Harvey ended up. I think I will move him 1 spot behind Caleb Johnson. I want Caleb Johnson more than RJ Harvey.
Okay, that already eliminates my next question, which was going to be, would you take Matthew Golden ahead of RJ Harvey in a rookie draft?
See,
that's no longer the case.
All right, let's do a little bit of a golden chatter. I mean, maybe this is a good spot.
Are you taking Harvey over Dart? Do you have Harvey over Dart?
Yeah, I think I'm going Harvey over Dart. I mean, I think in that range of your rookie drafts, you can do a little bit of team. You can do.
I have Harvey a tier ahead of Dart.
What about Ibuka?
I actually have Ibuka higher. I have him in the mid 70s. I have Ibuka. No, I have Ibuka really high, which I will. It's funny because I don't like Emeka Ibuka. Like I didn't like him really coming in. My bit was the fact that Ibuka is actually Ohio State's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards is actually a tell that he's like significantly worse than all these other guys because he stayed for the fourth year. But the way Jason Light has been talking about a guy that he just took 19th overall when you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Joe McMillan and Cade Otton on your roster already is the way that I assume like Kerrane talks about his daughter to people offline. Like he was like I couldn't sleep thinking another team might take him. And he's in like, I mean, obviously.
Does this mean Pat is Liam Neeson in this world? Like that's what he says about his daughter. I
think so.
I can't sleep. People are gonna take her.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're stressing me out.
Yeah.
Does Pat have a particular set of skills beyond best ball?
A particular set of skills. It's ranking best ball players.
Well, let's you on the phone with like the Albanians. You're like, I have a particular set of skills. I can create tiered rankings for best ball tournaments and draft well-structured teams, and I can share that advice with you for the low price of $9.99 per month. If you release
once this tournament plays out in another 7 months, you'll see.
I can't promise you a profit, but I can assure you that they're plus EV over the long run.
Explaining EV to an Albanian.
You may not realize your edge.
Let me ask you guys this question. Who is your favorite pick in rookie drafts? Like equating to cost, where they normally go, impact long-term on your team. Whomst is your favorite pick in rookie drafts?
Travis Hunter.
Not Travis Hunter for me. I had Hunter lower than both you guys.
That's a good question.
I'm tempted to say Byshell Tootin right now because I think you can just get him with any.
For me, for sure.
I think you can just get him with any second round pick. Like if you want him at the 205, he should be there in most of your leagues, or he should be acquirable. And now I'll probably hate him in a year once he hits and everyone loves him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, Byshell Tootin, third round startup pick." I'll be forced to be the stick in the mud on Byshell Tootin.
No one's forcing you. You're forcing yourself.
Yeah, you're forcing yourself, man.
The market dynamics are.
It wasn't even mud. You poured the water, bro.
You were just in dirt. You were just in dirt, and you made the mud, dude.
It wasn't mud until you came along.
Yeah.
It's probably for me is Harold Fannin, who I'm just like so happy to.
My most drafted rookie, Pat.
Yes.
Most drafted rookie. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all the concerns with him are kind of baked in, I think, and we can actually just like swing on the upside, which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
You can get him at like the 308 anytime. It's awesome.
It's crazy. That's crazy. That's truly crazy. I was gonna say I actually raised Harvey higher than what I had him originally. Just now.
Yeah, you were not convinced. You're not.
No, I actually raised Loveland and Ibuka too. I think
I had Loveland really high, and I need to move Burden higher too.
Yeah, I'm still trying to hold steady a little on Jaxson Dart because I think one of the biggest kind of errors that we've tended to make as a dynasty community is like discounting the first round quarterbacks, and I would say even with like a Mac Jones, that was true. Obviously, Jones was not a long-term hit, but he was someone that had a pretty good rookie season and was available really late, like late first, early second, even in rookie drafts. We just had last year, in part because there were so many quarterbacks, but you could just
Yeah.
sit there at that late first, early second and just pick off huge risers at the quarterback, gain a ton of value by just going, I'm going to take the quarterback. It doesn't have to be that hard. You can just kind of take the quarterback and he'll gain value.
Jaxson Dart is like picking a nickel up off the street.
No, it's like investing. If you can imagine, like maybe 5 years ago, it's like investing in a U.S. Treasury bond. It's a stable economy. Nothing can really shake up the world order, and you're just you're just gonna earn a nice steady return on that. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but that's kind of where I view it. It's like you're very likely to lock in a profit on Jaxson Dart, given where he's currently going. You're less likely than maybe this setup usually provides, because there are outcomes where he doesn't look very good and Daboll then gets fired and it's like over before it started. That's the part I'm struggling with. Yeah.
So I think this is not, I've heard people make that case. Like, this is the Bo Nix. I don't think it's those cases.
It's more like
I had Dart. I said pre-draft, I was like, if Dart goes in the first round, I'll have him, ranked in the first round. And I'll have him QB2 no matter what. And so I did that initially. And then I had to make another post where I peeled him back off, and I peeled him out of the tier with the tight ends, Abuka, Harvey, and Judkins, and into the tier with Johnson and Burden. And that was just because I was thinking more about this landing spot. And it's what you said. Like, if he'd gone to the Saints, the Steelers in late round 1, and then I would feel very comfortable he's getting like at least the start of, he's getting whatever he gets 2025, and he's at least starting 2026.
Right.
But now it's like, if Russ is going to start the year, Dart's going to come in at some point. And he had a pretty wide range of evaluations, I think, around the league. Like, what if he plays 6 to 10 games and he's kind of bad, which I think is probably pretty likely. He's like a late first quarterback who's adapting to a completely different system. Even if he has to work out in the NFL, I don't know that he's going to be like some incredible rookie. And then the new GM and coach that they look to hire next year, like, are they going to mandate you have to start Jaxson Dart? That would just seem unlikely to me unless he's particularly impressive. And so I can see the bottom falling out really, really quickly on him. And then I hear a lot about the first round draft capital. There was a major split in the security of first round draft capital historically after pick 15. So 16 to 32 since 2011. Lamar Jackson, that's really good. Jordan Love was a kind of a weird start, but eventually became good. And outside of that, EJ Manuel, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater, Paxton Lynch, Dwayne Haskins, Kenny Pickett, Brandon Whedon, which, like, a lot of those guys failed, and a lot of them failed fast.
I've heard that stat. The early second round there's been some hits there, which, if you're gonna, I think you should, be mentioning like Derek Carr and some other guys who come out of the early second. Obviously we had Jalen Hurts 53, so he's kind of more mid-second, but it's not been, I don't have any pushback really on the idea that like being the 10th overall pick is like way more valuable than being a late first, but I still think even with late first draft capital, he looks like a guy who should be going as kind of a late first rookie pick, based on his prospect profile and everything. The Giants situation, I do agree. I mean, I think it raises the ceiling and lowers the floor, because if he's good, this is a great spot. Like, if he's good and Daboll finally looks like he has his quarterback, it is wheels up. Like, it's hard to actually imagine that, because like we all kind of think baseline expectation is that Daboll's getting fired, Shane's getting fired, and this whole thing's gonna be a disaster. And so it's like actually like hard to, what if Jaxson Dart plays really well this year and brings some optimism back to this franchise? This one could really flip where he could gain a lot of value.
He runs a little bit too.
That part I totally agree with. I just disagree with the characterization of him as like the safe treasury bond. I think it's actually kind of a boom bust pick.
So he's like treasury bond now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So this is a perfect metaphor, because
he's like investing in Isaac TeSlaa.
Yeah. In the old days, these treasury bonds had safety. Now, who knows? But the quarterback bets have changed as well.
I think Dart is
He's like investing
pretty...
in like whatever, like Trump coin. Like
I don't know if he's that. I don't. Frankly, I think he has more upside than Trump coin. So
that's probably true.
I have Golden ranked slightly ahead of you
We knew
guys.
this would be the case. You're a ball knower. You like to stuff the pencil pushers in our lockers when it comes to unproductive Texas wide receivers.
I mean, don't like you guys were making fun of me for not being fun. You guys see a wide receiver.
I'm right with you, Davis. I'm 5 spots lower. Come on.
All right, I guess I'm mostly castigating Jacob. It's like brother.
Well, fun for me is a high receiving yards per team pass attempt number.
I don't care about any of that shit. You know what number I care about? 22, which is the number that he will be wearing for the Green Bay Packers.
You know how preposterous 22 is? I assume he picked 22 because 22 teams passed on him. Like,
yes.
Who does he think he is? Does he think he should have gone first overall?
Yes.
What is this? He's mad.
That is literally we've
passed
talked
on
about
him
this.
in his 1.85 career yards per hour. Get out of here.
That's so concerning to me. Like that's just like no, dude. No.
We've talked about this. Actually, we did a long bit about this on ADP chasing. You very much want your wide receivers to have these outsized ideas of themselves. You want your wide you absolutely want your wide receiver to be like, why would they take Travis Hunter over me? I'm Matthew Golden. Like that is the
but I'm pretty sure like Jalen
thing.
Reagor thinks he's the shit. Like I need you to be good too.
I think Jalen Reagor probably has had to eat some humble pie. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. You know, he might be humble pie intolerant. Like it doesn't. He can't absorb the nutrients. You know what I mean?
He's the first one. Like
Kadarius Toney definitely still thinks he's the shit.
Kadarius Toney definitely thinks he's the shit. Like for sure.
He's a great rapper now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
he's actually okay. I kind of like some of his stuff.
Like Deontay Johnson, it's fine. Oh, he's a little bit of a diva. It's fine. Until it's not fine. Like you have to have the level of talent that makes it fine.
Yes. So that is true. Like but I think the Packers obviously I think they understand the bargain that they are making. I'd like to take you guys to task.
Is another 15% target share added to the pile.
Yeah, if they do that, I'll be really wrong.
I just think that like I'm willing to concede. I'm willing to eat my humble pie that the NFL sees utility in Golden that the fantasy players don't, and that there is a role out there for players who only see a 16% target share. But the idea that a player with Golden's profile is then going to transform from a guy who was earning like 17% targets per route run last year, all of a sudden he's going to become a guy who is like dominating targets and putting up wide receiver 1 seasons. Like I just don't see it. Like even the guys that he gets comped to as upside cases stylistically, like a Lockett, Emmanuel Sanders, Brandon Cooks, Jordan Addison, like all of those guys were super productive in college. And then they transformed into like this kind of beta vertical role in the NFL. Golden's coming in as that. Maybe he becomes that, but I just don't have that much fear of missing out with him at all. Like I would
pull up my actual
Luther Burden over him.
Yeah, because I've like thrown out the Addison comp as a stylistic thing. Let me pull up the comps that I actually were statistically driven. Let's see. Yeah, Henry Ruggs, John Ross, Kadarius Toney, Rashad Bateman. Nelson Aguilar is another guy I'd kind of throw out there as like a reasonable range. Like Nelson Aguilar's had a career and at times looked like, oh, he's kind of interesting as like a real life NFL player. He got paid by the Patriots. Like he's not a bust in the sense that like this dude just washed out of the league. He got
one top 24 season with the Raiders, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe it was top 36, but it was
the year that Ruggs was out. Or went out. Anyway, the Golden, I think could be like a pretty useful NFL player, but not much of a fantasy producer. I do see that. At the same time, like he's a first round pick who's an early declare. He's very athletic, and like you should draft that at some. We think the quarterback play is good now. Like there's not a ton of competition for targets if he's good. So, you know, he was banged up in his second season. He transfers. Texas thinks Isaiah Bond is a superstar, so they prioritize him. They realize, oh, actually, Golden's better. He produces down the stretch. It's possible if he stayed for his senior season that he would be awesome with Arch Manning. Like imagine next year he's coming off, Arch Manning, and he's just dominating targets. Then we'd be saying, well, guys, he's a 4-year player. But I don't know. We should like that he came out early and was still a first-round pick as opposed to going back to school and dominating, inflating his draft capital that way. It's risky. It feels risky, but I think, I don't want to overthink first-round capital, athleticism, and, got that first-round capital without having to turn to school. So there's just a point at which I'm like, all right, I'll take the bet, even though I don't really believe in him.
Yeah. Very good in the college football playoffs. That matters a lot to me. I mean, that was the AD Mitchell stat. And I think AD Mitchell would be good.
How did AD Mitchell go last year?
Well, he seems like he's a bit of a dick, Jacob. Pretty good football player, though.
My lasting impression of AD Mitchell being a good football player is as I sat at the 40-yard line at Mile High Stadium and watched him fire a reverse pass for a pick six as a wide receiver. And then I just went like this as like every single other person in my section started to lose their minds. That's my lasting impression of AD Mitchell from his rookie season.
As he scoffed after the game.
And then he was like, yeah, I executed the play.
Which one of you guys wants to defend ranking George Pickens as a top 100 dynasty player?
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
You were the one that said wide receivers need to be demons, Davis.
I mean, maybe I've always been the pro George Pickens voice on this panel.
Yeah, you have.
Can't really imagine a more bearish sequence than trading for a version of the same player that you are and then acquiring Aaron Rodgers or Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback. I mean, I guess the most
he's not going to be there next year.
That's the most bullish thing is that he would get traded.
Yeah.
No, not even traded. I mean, he's on the last year of his deal.
Yeah, that his contract just expires.
In part, I think that's why he hasn't been traded. Is that if they're asking for anything, like, I heard on the internet and stuff, people are like, oh, could they get a second for him? It's like, no, they definitely can't because they've made it very, very, very clear they would like to trade him. And NFL teams use that as leverage, and you have to then pay him. You don't have so. It makes a lot.
They'll probably
more
get
sense.
a 3rd-round comp pick anyway, so there's no point in taking like a 4th for him unless they just think he's that much of a distraction.
That's a great point. So yeah, he's stuck here probably this year, but then he's gonna get paid. Like Christian Kirk got paid a bunch of money. Like just Stephon Diggs coming off a torn ACL at like 31 got paid a bunch of money. He's gonna get paid somewhere. He's gonna have a chance to, be the wide receiver 1 probably somewhere, or be maybe the wide receiver 2 with good quarterback play. He's 24 years old and he's good.
I got him. Gretchen and I are in a league with Davis in the same league, and we just acquired him for the 207, which I was surprised by.
Damn.
So there is.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that. I'll move him up marginally. I'm not going to move him to where you guys have him. I don't think.
That's fair. Non-derogatory.
I kind of want to do a draft with Davis after this to get his real opinions, though.
Here's our I did a search of our biggest.
Wow, you are letting the naysayers know, and we are the naysayers. Apparently,
here's our
yes.
Our biggest,
all right, this is the.
We are
Davis
being let know. Davis is back.
Let's go.
So, Jalen Milroe, I have him as my 95th ranked dynasty player. Jacob has him as 121. Kerrane has him at 135.
You're less fun.
Here's the deal, man. What do you win when you win with Jalen Milroe? You win a guy who can very conceivably be a top 30 asset in this. And I think you can also win a guy who kind of has a Justin Fields style next couple of years where maybe his value is kind of uncertain, but you can just slot him into your lineup for like random 24-point games. And you might be saying, he's got no path to start. He was a 3rd-round pick. This guy, this guy stinks. I'm fast forwarding to the Seattle Seahawks are 5-7. Sam Darnold has a lingering ankle injury. He has that injury guarantee in his deal. Sam Darnold started 12 games for the Seattle Seahawks. He gets booed off the field after a Thursday night game against the San Francisco 49ers, where he's taken 4 sacks and thrown 3 picks. And that's it. We never hear from Sam Darnold again. Milroe comes in the game in the fourth quarter, runs for a 47-yard touchdown, hands the ball to the referee, walks back to the sideline, and you're like, wow, that was cold. That was cold, Jalen. And basically the legend of Jalen Milroe begins. Maybe I would trim him back 8, 9, 10 spots or something, but I want to be way ahead of market on Milroe.
Yeah, I'd put him way up. I was convinced.
Well, hear me out, because
Sold Jacob, did not sell Kerrane.
You didn't sell me. I think the thing that kind of the baseline that I'm coming in with is like, this dude fell to pick 92. There was like talk of him being, what if he's going to get invited to the draft? Someone in on him in the first round. The Steelers like desperately need a quarterback right now. And after Rodgers, if they even get Rodgers, they did not take him with multiple opportunities to do so. He ends up as a backup in Seattle with an offense that's like not really like, I guess we saw the 49ers try with like Trey Lance to have an offense like that built around his type of skill set. The Packers, I suppose, have been okay with Malik Willis, but I think that's LaFleur just being like, I'll just have a completely different offense because I'm pretty good at this for when Malik Willis comes in. I don't think that actually like this team's really set up to support Milroe as the type of quarterback that he is, which is a very specific type of guy who's going to be very, very dependent on his athleticism early in his career, makes a lot of mistakes, is not really like a Hurts type. I think he's much more like Malik Willis. And then when you look at the draft capital,
Anthony Richardson, perhaps,
or Anthony Richardson. Yeah. But at least Richardson had the Hurts coach and the draft capital and the entire organization behind him. I think Milroe could really, really struggle to pass the ball consistently as a rookie, especially if the offense isn't really designed around him, which is what happens when you don't have draft capital. You're looking at guys probably going to get it. I think he probably doesn't really get out on the field until very late in the season because they're going to be like afraid of what that looks like. Like he's a project.
I mean, if Darnold plays well, then he's not going to play.
If Darnold plays well, but even if I don't think it's as simple as like, it's not the Giants where it's like, Russ can play pretty well, but they lose a few games and Dart's getting out there. It's they might need. It's a risky situation for both guys because you don't know this. Like Darnold could get benched if they miss the playoffs, and Milroe could come in, but Milroe could also sit basically the entire season, even if they've been out of the playoffs for a couple weeks, because they're like, we're not feeling like we took this dude in the late third round as a developmental guy, and like the development hasn't happened yet. That's, I don't know, from the draft capital perspective, you would expect that he would just be a career backup. This is where career backups go. Yeah. I think it's much more similar to like a Sam Howell type of bet than something like a Jalen Hurts.
But it could be like a Sam Howell or Desmond Ritter, who both started year 2.
Yeah.
How about
could be like
Dakota
and obviously neither worked. But I think that the difference is I moved up to 112 for what it's worth. And mostly that was because I just started looking at names that I had ahead of him, and I was like, I don't give a shit about this player. And so I just moved him ahead of some of those dudes.
Let me see where I am.
Yeah, I do think he's probably bad, and I do think it's possible he never plays. But the one thing that Milroe has that Ritter and Howell didn't have is his fantasy upside case is so clearly apparent that in the scenario where he starts a couple games at the end of the year because Darnold is bad, but they still go like 8 and 9. And so they don't really have a great opportunity to get a quarterback next year. And so they figure like, better than reaching or trading way up in the first, we drafted this Milroe guy. Let's just give him a shot in 2026 and see what happens. That's like at least semi-plausible. At that point, you've already won the bet. Like if he's confirmed as the week 1 starter for 2026, like his ADP will be like in the 50s or 60s because his upside is so high. Like Justin Fields, I mean, who like we have a lot of evidence is not very good. we all ranked, I think, in like round 5 or round 6 or round 7.
That's kind of what I
who's
mean, though, is
gonna
like where I'm
start.
trying to dial in like what good means. Like Justin Fields, I think, is like way better than what we can expect from
Probably.
Jalen Milroe. Like way, way, way better. Like that.
Yeah,
My concern
very
for Milroe
likely.
isn't that like, oh, it'll be kind of like Justin Fields. Like I think Justin Fields is like Justin Fields, the NFL player, is like a huge win for Jalen Milroe as the 92nd overall pick.
Jacob, a noted Justin Fields non-believer. I have Justin Fields at 68.
Fields has some real holes
Yeah, I
in
mean,
his game, but he has some real
your guys
strengths as an
rank at
NFL starter as
68.
well.
Your guys ranked at 68 and 75, I think, imply a higher degree of confidence than I have that he is going to take advantage of this year to restart his NFL career and be a long-term starter. I'm viewing him as like a 1-year rental that maybe you get more of.
I think him getting $40 million
confidence.
after basically like not playing the last like 18 months is kind of indicative that there's just always going to be some GM who's like, well, it didn't work for those people, but it might work for us. Like kind of like a scrambling version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. That is kind of who I imagine Justin Fields being.
That sounds fun. The thing for me, Jake, was I kind of I agree that like you should basically be planning for 1 year with Fields. And if you're not contending and you have him, he's a great guy to try to sell, especially if there's some hype about, how he's picking up the offense in the summer and whatnot. But I also think that there's a real ceiling here. Like, Fields has flashed. Like he flashed some real promise at points in his career. His offensive coordinators have been really bad, or last year, really, really run heavy and just like not particularly creative, and also not bought in that he's the guy. So you have a team that I'm surprised that this happened. This was like a better outcome than I would have thought was available to him this offseason.
Yep.
But he lands in a situation where he doesn't have any competition at all for the quarterback 1 spot. He has to fall flat on his face now to lose this job. And it's a team that I think wants to be somewhat competitive, put a good football product out there on the field. They're not going to be tanking or anything. It's the guys coming over from the Lions who, more than anything, the philosophy there is like, let's build to what our players do well. I think they're going to rely on his mobility. And I don't think they're going to be afraid to let him pass the ball the way Arthur Smith was. So there is real upside here that he comes out of this as a capable steward of a very specific type, but an effective offense where effectively, to kind of go back to the Arthur Smith thing, I guess, he could kind of have that Ryan Tannehill run. We could be at the start of a Justin Fields, Ryan Tannehill run where it's actually, it does go 2, 3, 4 years, but it's not because he developed into some superstar. It's because an NFL team found a quarterback who's kind of like his Geno Smith moment, like that type of thing where it's like, he has proven himself to be capable. He's not like maybe what we were hoping when we were drafting him back in rookie drafts, but he's giving still some production on the ground, and he's doing enough to kind of hold down this job as this offense, kind of continues to grow with him as the quarterback. And we know like this is not a great time to need a quarterback. Like if you have a Justin Fields and he's productive, you're probably going to be okay with that as the Jets going forward. So I think I really do believe there's ceiling here. Even if baseline, he's probably a 1-year rental.
Yeah, I can see the ceiling. I'm trying to move him up. Like I looked through my ranks. I was like, who can I move him up ahead of? I guess there's like a bunch of wide receivers who like I have ahead of him that probably won't give that difference speaking of production. But I don't know. I'm struggling to move him up like that much higher. Like I'm trying to look through your ranks to see like guys that you have him ahead of.
I have him over
it's
Pickens.
like-
I have him over Burden and Golden. I have him over like
yeah, that's tough for me. Like because that's like a lot of young players, a lot of upside. Like especially like I could never take him over like Burden and Golden. I don't think. I think that would be a tough one for me.
Burden is another guy after doing this exercise because I can't possibly be lower on Luther Burden than you guys. I mean, that is just absolutely devastating.
I
Come
might
on,
just move Burden up because I do like the upside with Burden.
All right. Another
Davis is
of
just
the
lighting his own brand on fire.
Like Tyler
with these
Warren,
low
I'm kind of
rankings
now
on-
just like, give me. Do I have to? I have to sit through a year of nothing and then be like, but he's a tight end. Don't worry, he'll be valuable later. Like, can I
guess
just
we're
have a productive
if we're
quarterback who might be
doing
productive again?
for doing the mobile quarterbacks that teams are trying to give up on. I'm just giving a vote of confidence and saying that I think Anthony Richardson
Wow.
can win the quarterback battle with Daniel Jones
I
and play
appreciate
well
that
this
confidence.
season.
You're wrong, but I really appreciate it.
Are you drafting redraft like this? Are you taking it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's just like I'm intimately familiar with the work of Daniel Jones, and it's like
I was so
Daniel
earnest.
Daniel Jones is
I've been there,
he's
man.
actively bad, man. He's actively
Yeah.
really, really bad.
Yeah, let me
Now do
introduce you to my
Anthony
friend
Richardson.
Tony Richardson.
Yeah. Now.
Look, here was the moment where it turned for me. This isn't good process, but like I was a staunch Anthony Richardson defender. And then I was at that game in Denver and I watched him do warm-ups. And I just watched him on air, like be completely incapable of hitting a practice slot out for about 8 yards. Like he threw about 15 in a row on air in pregame warm-ups. He might have completed 3. It was like astonishing. Like he was skymailing them by like 20 feet, dunking the next one into the dirt, throwing one behind a dude, like in not a game situation. Like he just could not physically was incapable of throwing a quick out. And then like watched him play the game. He was horrible, obviously. And it's just like, I don't think he's just so inaccurate. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. Like, I don't know how you fix that. If he can fix it, it'll work. But I just don't think that's like a thing that you can fix.
Don't call those
disqualifyingly
plays.
inaccurate.
Just don't call those plays.
Call
just
passing plays.
Just run or bombs. Bombs or runs.
The thing with Richardson, like the funny thing about this is that like me and Jacob were pretty big Richardson bulls when he entered the league, because it's like, dude, he's got the most fantasy friendly skill set you could ask for. We don't need him to be like, oh no, he can't throw a quick out. Like, okay, it's fine. Like maybe he'll get better over
eventually
time.
In 3rd and 6, and you're like, I really wish you could throw a quick out.
Right. But like he'll run for 6 yards, Jacob. Don't worry. You know, like that whole argument works a lot better when he's a rookie, and you have the upside of like maybe he's more accurate than people are saying he is, and you're kind of getting that for free because he's going, they're gonna start him. He's the 4th overall pick. He's gonna produce even if he's not a good passer, and he's got job security. Now the job security is completely gone. Even though Jones stinks, like this is an open competition entering camp, and why? Partly because he's been so inaccurate, but partly because they don't like what they're seeing off the field, or they don't like.
And if you're concerned about that, Michael Pittman said, "Yeah, I've worked out with Daniel Jones all offseason. Haven't heard from Anthony."
Dude, that is ultra bearish. The thing with
what
Richardson,
are you doing?
if you have Richardson and like he's a super hard worker, then like okay, like we might be talking about a potential superstar, but he is the worst type of bet to have these like work ethic concerns. This is over. We're too high. Like I'm the low man. I'm too high. Like this dude's not gonna be worth anything next year.
What if he? Okay, just hear me out. What if he is staring down the barrel of like being a UFL player and he's like,
he is.
I'll just
he already
try really hard for one off season and get my check, get my extension.
I mean, maybe he has been trying hard. It's alarming that he hasn't been trying hard with his teammates who have been working out with his backup quarterback.
You know that he has like a text. He has like a half written text to Pittman, like, yo man, like wanna, and then he just is like, whatever.
You know what? I think that just convinced me right there. That is bearish enough that he has not texted Michael Pittman Jr. yet.
Bearish.
That is super bearish. Who else? Who else is interesting here?
Man,
Kerrane very high on Calvin Ridley. I mean, I'm not gonna really take you to task on that.
I maintain, by the way, the Colts should have an offense. They should have done this last year, where they play Anthony Richardson on early downs, and then they just bring out Flacco for third downs, and more than 4, like that.
Look, I have Calvin Ridley right next to. Where do you have Cortland Sutton?
Higher, because he.
Yeah, why are those? So I'm high man on both, but why are those rankings any different? Aren't they the exact same player now?
Not a good reason.
I don't know, dude. A wide receiver gets to this stage. A wide receiver gets to their 3rd contract, and I just am like so bearish.
Yeah, but he's like the clear number 1. You know, whatever. Like, it might be. I wonder if we have maybe this.
Honestly, you're probably more right on Ridley. Like, probably Sutton, I think, has like real, like, they're not re-signing him next year. The team's not set up to make the playoffs, and they're just playing Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, and Pat Bryant. Because, like, what's the point?
No, they're not.
Risk.
The real answer is that we know Bo Nix is at least cromulent and maybe even really good. We have no idea what Cam Ward is yet. So that would be why I would prefer Sutton to Ridley. But I agree, the gap between them is too large, and you win this round.
Yeah. I probably have I have like some rookies and quarterbacks ranked too low behind this crop of receivers who don't really matter. So I'm actually gonna move him down, because he'll stay the same in the wide receiver rankings, so I move some rookies up.
So like I said, I just did these kind of gut check, not
way to go, Davis.
So here's a little bit of me still being my old version of myself. I have a very aggressive ranking on Kyle Pitts, because I mean, you want to talk about a guy who could actually make himself some money this year. Kyle Pitts is probably set up to get a 2-year, $12 million Mike Gesicki style contract if he sucks again this season.
I don't know, man. I don't know if the Montreal Alouettes can afford that kind of cash.
But if this dude can just be better than Ray McCloud, he could really get himself paid, dude. And he is, for fantasy, he's pretty interesting. He's pretty interesting for our game.
How far have we fallen? We're begging and pleading to be better than Ray McCloud.
This is truly is
in the
interstellar.
First round of startups, and we're like,
this is bookcase meme.
Be better than Ray McCloud. Please be better than Ray McCloud. Come on,
Davidson knows this is the outcome. It's like, don't draft this guy. Don't draft him 101.
I can't live in a universe where I'm giving up on Kyle Pitts before he's actually dead. Like, as long as he is ambulatory and on an NFL field, I'm just going to keep losing money on him.
That's fair. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of this rank. There could be some. Maybe Penix likes the tight end more than.
Man, I hope that you're right, because I still have a lot of Pitts shares that are firmly untradeable. So, like, I mean, I want nothing more in my life than for you to be right about Anthony Richardson, and I would closely behind that would be for you to be right about Kyle Pitts. So I'm not going to fight it.
Okay,
can we talk about Tyler Shough?
The only person who ranked Harold Fan. Oh, I just added the junior, and you guys didn't.
It's a naming error. All right, yeah, we could talk about Tyler Shough.
Okay, all right. I was worried that I was going to be on an island with Shough.
Yeah, but Jake and I are 2 spots, so Pat has to take these bullets.
Come on, man.
It's like the Tour de France. Like, you're like drafting behind me.
It is. Yeah. All right, Jacob.
I'm facing the argument.
Yeah. I'll be here to support, but you go tell us why.
Yeah, here I have a really well thought out argument. He's the 40th overall pick. That's my argument. It's over.
My argument against caring is like, come on, man, don't make me care about Tyler Shough. Just don't.
Dude, we've been trying to make you care about Tyler Shough for months, and you refuse. You refuse.
I find Evan
311, and now you must care at 211.
I think Evan Silva gave the best argument for ranking Shough where I did, which is the Saints are basically like, all right, ripping the Band-Aid off. We gotta suck. We can't just like nakedly suck with Rattler. So let's give ourselves a chance. Let's assign a 0.7% probability that Shough is a franchise quarterback. If we hit on that, great, awesome. We start the rebuild earlier than we thought. He probably stinks. So let's soft tank, put ourselves in a position to take Sellers or Arch or Grant Nussmeier or whoever. But basically, Shough is set up to be second round Mac Jones, where they literally plan on starting him for a year and then moving on.
But that wasn't the
He's
plan
like
with Jones.
fodder, is what you're saying.
I'm saying
Yeah.
Tyler Shough
Yeah.
is cannon fodder.
So I think that gives way, way too much credit to the Saints front office. I think what they did is they went into the offseason, they're like, well, we should probably get rid of Derek Carr, but actually that's kind of difficult and we're gonna have to eat a lot of money. What if instead we just like paid him way more money in terms of guarantees and then basically makes it impossible for us to move off of him this year. And if we want to, we can move him off next year, but that way we'll have some cap space. That unlocks some cap space. We just guarantee more money for Carr. Great, let's do that. Has anyone talked to Derek in a while? He doesn't like hate us, does he?
It's all good
no,
with
he
Derek,
does.
right?
He hates us to our he hates us more than anyone has ever hated a franchise. Cool. All right, so we don't have a quarterback, and we just paid our guy who we thought was our quarterback way too much money. So how do we get one? Our only chance of having a quarterback this year is now someone on this godforsaken roster, or we can spend a second round pick on Tyler Shough. Let's just do that. Let's do Shough. I like Shough better than Rattler, so let's just do that. And then, we'll figure out next offseason. Yeah, we'll start thinking about that in about a year. And for now, let's just play Tyler Shough. He'll be good. Problem solved.
It's not good, man. It's not good. Should I rank him higher? Should I rank him higher than 198? Sure.
Yeah.
Does it matter? No.
Probably not.
I think it might matter in the sense that
it'd be so funny if he's good.
Look, I mean, we have mocked picks in the past that have been okay. Like Daniel Jones at 6 was roundly mocked.
Correctly mocked, but he was someone that people got excited about after a year because he flashed a little bit. Yeah.
I don't think even Chuck's upside case is like I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's like
I can't think of anything like this before.
It's crazy. It could be, you know what, and this is not really that much upside, but it could be like Pickett. Remember, like there was like kind of this weird Pickett optimism that developed.
Great preseason year too.
Yeah, I could see there could be optimism around him as like he's going to be able to deliver some spike weeks as like an effective pocket passer. This is not a type of guy I've ever really gotten excited about. I'm not excited, but like you're getting free quarterback starts in Superflex, way cheaper than you ever get starts. Like, I don't know. It's worth something.
Yeah.
In some ways, just like take this guy so you don't end up having to, like, you could take Tyler Shough and prevent a panic situation where you're having to go get a quarterback. Like, my team's good. I lost my quarterback 2 to injury, and I don't have a quarterback 2 now.
Right.
I'm screwed. I'm going to have to overpay. Not if you've got Tyler Shough.
He might score as much as a wide receiver 5.
That's right. Quarterbacks score a lot of points in Superflex. So, wide receiver 5. Come on. Yeah. He'll be useful.
Yeah, I agree with everything Pat said. I'm glad he was more committed to the case than I had to be. It's preposterous that we have to do this. Like I can't. I'm so angry at the Saints for making us have to like consider what to do with a 40th overall pick, Tyler Shough. But we're here. There's like a certain threshold below. I just can't possibly rank a top 40 pick quarterback below, and that's where I'm ranking Tyler Shough.
So I created a little formula to like tell me I should know. I'm like way off of this formula in a lot of cases, but I was just like, as a kind of sanity check in certain spots, let me see like what my best ball ranking would be, like, looking at age and contract stuff. Like, let me just say, like, if this guy's ranked like this in best ball at this position, what would we expect him to be ranked in Dynasty, right? I have Shough 34 spots lower than, because we have him as like a draftable very end, like not a guy you want to draft, but like he's in the last round type of mix in best ball. And it's like, hey, there's a rookie quarterback who's like who's a defensible best ball pick as a rookie. is probably like around top 100 in Dynasty ranks, right? It's like, nope, because he's old and he's a pocket passer and we hate him and we can't think of any upside that comes along here, which is fine. But I mean, like, I'm already 34 spots below that. So, like, how much more do you keep docking him?
Yeah.
You know, the situation is
for being
valuable.
27 and for being
He's 25, by the way.
Backup.
He's 20. He turns 26 before the season, I think, but he is 25.
And it's actually a decent situation. Like, the offensive line is horrible, and that hurts him specifically because he can't move. And every time he's pressured, he's liable to just like
he breaks a bone,
fling the ball into midfield. Into like a pile of defenders. but he does have Olave and he has Shaheed. And he's got Kamara and he's got Kellen Moore. It's like a decent enough play call. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like, this is no fun for anybody.
The fuck is wrong with you, dude? Defend yourself. Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, you bypassed that the first time. I really liked when it looked like
66th for Xavier Worthy. Kerrane somehow with a
what's wrong with you, dude?
Ranking. Yeah, what's
you got
wrong
him outside
with
your top 40? You hater.
What's wrong with me, Jacob? You can't even, like, there's not even a version of you that actually believes this is true.
I've never liked Xavier Worthy, so it's
well, you were wrong. So just admit you were wrong.
I don't think that I am wrong.
All move on.
I don't think that I'm wrong. I don't think that I'm wrong. You like put up a bunch of manufactured bullshit at the end of the year. I don't think he's an impressive player.
Manufactured bullshit.
Own his life.
He was the number one wide receiver for the AFC's Super Bowl representative.
Yeah, by attrition.
Oh my god, dude!
Everybody else got hurt.
It's 9:12 here, but I want to crack a beer for this. This is delightful.
I mean, Jacob, he was actively learning how to play the wide receiver position during the season and still averaged 16.5 fantasy points per game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that qualifier because I was like, that does not seem like the scoring total that I thought he had last year.
I don't even want to paint this picture of Xavier Worthy like he's this great player who's the new Tyreek. Like, I don't even believe that. He's got bringing it back to Liam Neeson. He has a very specific set of skills. He actually was like kind of miscast for a while during the year, and then they finally figured out the right way to use him. He also, like, he just legitimately got better over the course of the season. He's in what was a bad offensive environment last year, but might finally actually come together for the first time in 3 years this year if the offensive line is better. Now, it might not be, right?
You guys both have this guy over Breece Hall?
Easily.
You guys have this guy. Wait, you guys have this guy ranked over Rashee Rice. They're both.
Yeah, that's the one
offense.
I was looking at.
One was way better than the other one. That's crazy.
I should probably have Rice ahead. I think
Rashee Rice,
rookie year.
Rashee Rice has a
this
lot.
Is including the postseason. 1.51 yards per route run. That's the same as Adonai Mitchell. That's lower than Keon Coleman. Like, it's lower than Jalen Coker. Like, he wasn't bad. He's not a bust. The idea that he's a top 4-round pick, that's really rich to me.
And I will take him there with honor.
I'm gonna lower him.
Distinction. Yeah, of course you are, Kerrane. You're a coward. You're a weak man. Rashee Rice has so many red flags.
Yeah, and I'm the lowest of us on Rashee Rice. Actually, Davis is tied, but
I believe that Worthy is better than Rice, and I'm the only person that believes this. Everyone on the best ball.
No, you and Winks. You've been Winks pilled.
Rashee was
like I still have him at 50, which is closer to you than Jacob. Yeah, but do you have Rome ahead of him?
I think I have Rome.
I'm going to change that.
I have Rome
at
55.
Oh
no, I don't.
At 69. Okay,
Mark safe. Right, oh, I also moved him up because I saw this on the rankings before we got into this, and I got frightened of what was to come. So I did move him up. I already had him ahead of Rome, but I've since moved it up to 59.
Xavier Worthy.
Here are the guys that I have between. Where does Pat have him at 50 now?
I just moved him to 50.
I'll go from Davis. Davis has him at 43. Here's everybody that I have between 43 and then my actual ranking of 59. And you tell me which of these offends your sensibilities, Davis. Devon Achane, Michael Penix, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins.
Zay Flowers.
Olave.
Zay Flowers, yeah, right.
Zay Flowers is better than him.
He's way better. Way better. He is not in a environment that is going to lead to him being a better fantasy asset over the next 3
He was
to
a better
5
fantasy
years.
asset last year.
But okay, but aren't you kind of capitulating with like Zay Flowers? Like you're just like, give me like this dude who really doesn't have a ceiling, who really isn't going to have much trade value. Like, at what point is Zay Flowers ever going to be like, oh, Zay Flowers, I got it.
2.25 yards per route run last year and over 1,000 yards. Like, why does he have no value?
I'm not saying he's no value. I'm saying his chance of being like a premium trade asset are basically zilch at this point.
Yeah, zero.
He's not like a guy who's going to like, you know, bowl someone over because
I guess
he kind of is. It's, we know what the situation is, and he wasn't. Last year was his chance to kind of step up and prove that he was going to be a star, and he reinforced the idea that he's good, which is great. But it's not like, I don't know. I don't view him as someone who had this incredible season. I'm surprised he was that efficient because my view of his second season is kind of disappointing, to be frank. But maybe I'm being too harsh. But Worthy gives you, I think, such a higher ceiling, is the potential to be the clear number one for Patrick Mahomes moving forward. I mean, we can argue about what the chances of that are. I don't think they're super high, but they exist. And with his skill set, it's just like, it's hard for me to immediately, like, I'd rather have Devontae Smith and Zay Flowers and stuff like that. Like, why can't I just take the swing? Because I'm probably protected. He's going to enter next year 3, tied to Patrick Mahomes. He'll probably have similar value to those guys anyway. Like, you know, like Jordan Addison or whatever. He's going to have similar value to Addison next year, probably, even if he doesn't really break out. So why not take the swing on the upside?
I just don't think he's any good. I guess
not. You're just really outing
like
yourself.
Everything you just said could like also apply to like Keon Coleman. So it's like,
except no one even really believes that.
Coleman.
Not even Keon Coleman.
I just like, yeah, I understand the theory of like that these guys are capped. I don't know. Like halfway through last year, everybody was like, "Oh, Worthy looks like a bust," and then they started like throwing him a bunch of jet sweeps, and then everybody was like, "Oh, now he's good." And I guess I'm just not convinced of that at all.
Yeah, turns out throwing the fastest guy in the history of the NFL Combine, getting jet sweeps and crossers, turns out that it's a good way to get points.
But like, do you guys think that he could be the type of receiver that actually elevates past his tier? Like,
yes.
Like does he like what? Yes, it seems like he has to add a shit ton to his game that I've never seen from him.
Go watch the first catch he made in the Super Bowl. It's really good. It's or actually the first third down against the Bills too. He did this 1-on-1. Cornerback is right on him. He gets up above the cornerback. He gets inside leverage, turns his shoulder, brings the ball into where the defender can't get it, 2 feet in. Like, just like honestly, a DeAndre Hopkins ass play. Just like a full grown man play from him on like a 3rd and 8. That was something he absolutely could not have done in September of 2024. Like, they would have asked him to do it, and he would have just like, the guy from the infomercial was handling the hose and the bucket and everything and just like falling all over himself. That's what he would have looked like. He like learned on the job for a team that won the AFC. It's pretty impressive. Whereas the Buffalo Bills threw a screen to Amari.
I'm annoyed because I know I'm going to capitulate on this guy again because I know that every fucking slappy is and it's not going to work. He sucks. Every fucking slappy is like going to be drafting this guy. So I'm going to end up with like 13% best ball exposure again. And like last year, I took this guy everywhere, despite liking every rookie that was drafted behind him way better. And it's like, I wish that every single stupid Worthy share I took last year was just a Lad McConkey or Brian Thomas share, who I knew was better than this little dweeb. And now I'm going to have to take this guy again. I guess I will. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you that it's not going to work, but it's sort of like, but what if it does? Anyway? Yeah.
All right.
I love doing these though, because one of my bigger takeaways is that I'm probably too low on Zay Flowers. That's one of the big takeaways of the Xavier Worthy conversation.
But I feel like I'm probably too high on Zay Flowers. So I'm getting your point. Like, I understand that I totally get your point that guys like Smith and Addison and Flowers that are going to score like 13.9 points per game, are just going to be there whenever you want. Like, I actually got like the best example of this would be, and I have Addison ranked ahead of Worthy, but maybe I'll change that after the show. I was on the clock at the 2:03, and Dart was still there, and someone needed a quarterback, and they just sent me Jordan Addison for the 2:03, and I instantly accepted. But like, that guy was like, probably thought in his mind, I'm losing this trade, but I don't care. I need a quarterback. I like Dart, whatever. And Jordan Addison's not going to keep me up at night. And I don't think that that's the kind of trade that happens with Xavier Worthy, because he's sexier. So I get
exactly. And I think Flowers is already to that level, but maybe he shouldn't be. Fair. Maybe he's done enough to where we should. I think part of it's the offensive environment and all that, but
who would you rather draft? Worthy or Flowers?
Worthy
goes way ahead.
I know. Well, I haven't clicked them yet this year, but maybe I'm gonna have to start because you guys.
God, you were gonna have to try and have fun staying poor, brother.
All right.
Look, last year I was clicking any of the Chiefs, and I would have had a great year. And then I started listening to you guys' podcasts, and I started clicking stupid Chiefs. And look what it got me.
Look what it got me.
Yeah,
I hate to do this to you, but I'm gonna pull up Sean Siegel's rank of Xavier Worthy in best ball.
I bet it's like 17th.
Yeah, he's got to have him really high.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he doesn't. Let's see.
Well, Sean sometimes zigs, but I got.
I'm surprised. I thought I was bearish on Rome.
He has him 19th.
Jacob. Yeah, he does.
Oh my god. Thought that might be the case.
Hey, enjoy completely fading Worthy, Jacob. I'm sure there's no ceiling here.
None. He stinks.
Yeah.
He stinks.
We'll see how it goes. I'll have 12% by August, I'm sure.
All right. Chris Olave, and I think this is going to be related.
He scares me too.
I think this is going to be related to Shough. I have him way lower than you guys. I have him at 75. Jacob has him at 51.
Kerrane, you have him at 50. Like a beta wide receiver fetish. I don't know what to say.
So the deal with Olave is twofold. So it's one, who's his quarterback this year? Who's his quarterback next year? What does that look like? Second, I never really liked Olave relative to consensus anyway, so it was a little bit kind of like how Jacob didn't really like Worthy anyway, so it's a little bit easier to press the nuke button. And then the third is, which I think is represented in our Tua ranking as well, he has 5 concussions since 2020, which just does bring black marble tail risk into it more than you would like, I think.
Fair enough. I just pocket quarterback, plays in a dome. His peripherals have always been really strong. I still think that, to me, the reason why we all thought he had ceiling a long time ago mostly still applies, and it's just that the passage of time has dulled his appeal to people. But he still appeals to me. I mean, I'm drafting tons of him in best ball, and I'm trying to trade for him in Dynasty.
He kind of scares me in best ball because I think Tyler Shough's his quarterback for the whole year, which is cool if you have Tyler Shough in Superflex, but not so cool if you need Chris Olave to produce in best ball.
Yeah, fair. But I don't know. It's dome. He's a pocket quarterback. Like, how bad can it be? He's like going to be 26. He's got a lot of experience.
He doesn't have a lot of experience. That's the whole thing.
That's the thing. He's got like 950 total dropbacks. Despite being 25.
Because he keeps getting hurt. So if he's bad, then he'll get hurt. And then it's fine because we have Spencer Rattler.
Kerrane has decided that it's appropriate because these guys go right next to each other in best ball.
Oh, man. My other favorite wide receiver.
Kerrane has decided that Jaylen Waddle, sadly, has prematurely retired from the National Football League.
He's put him in like the Sutton Ridley zone.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Guess you guys just didn't watch the season last year, Jaylen Waddle?
Nah, I skipped it actually. I just watched the dots, Kerrane, on NFL Next Gen Stats. I just watched the dots.
His dot was moving okay, but the ball, did you notice how the ball never seemed to go?
No, the
towards
ball
his
kept
dot?
going. The ball kept going to this guy. This guy I'd never heard of, Janu something.
Yeah,
I'd
I think
never
it's
I'd never heard
pronounced,
of him before.
Janu.
Yeah,
Janu.
little quick ball, and then the
Quick,
dot would move
very
after.
quick,
Yeah.
insanely quick. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the Devon Achane dot would get the ball even quicker. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they end up trading Tyreek, and I don't
Okay.
think.
Well, if you think Tyreek is on the team, then this is
I do.
defensible. Yeah.
I do think Tyreek's on
I
the
think
team.
I just think it'll work out anyway. I don't know. Like, why would we assume last year's more indicative of who Waddle is than every other year of his career? Like, there's not an injury I'm aware of. There's not like a major change in the situation. He's not old. Like, why wouldn't he just revert back to who he was?
Because their offensive line stinks, and Tua has horrible concussion issues, and they have to get the ball out as quickly as possible. And they have two guys now in Janu and Achane who help facilitate that, and they have a wide receiver who is still being prioritized over him. So he ends up functionally being the fourth option on a passing offense that we don't really want much past the third option in. Much past the second option, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably the base rate expectation should be that Miami is better than they were last year. And if that is true, then that means
I think
that
so. The market doesn't. The market thinks
Yeah.
Miami's going to suck.
Waddle, I think, like has the most to gain from the Achane Janu bullshit being cut out. Like pretty clearly has the most to gain.
Which I think is
Tyreek has the most to gain, I think, if he,
is good anymore and is sane. And
yeah, there's a few caveats that are important there, but I mean, I think he has the most to gain because he's been the one who's Waddle has never passed Tyreek. He's never passed Tyreek. Even last year when Tyreek fell off a ton, he's still behind Tyreek. Like I've yet to see this guy prove that he's not the number 2 wide receiver, and then 2 other players step up and are starting to have huge parts of the passing offense, and it just bumps Waddle down. If you get another season like last year, you're not paying anything close to, like, my ranking's too bullish if we get anything close to last year. I think, yeah, he could revert to what he was before this, but if he doesn't, you're going to lose a lot of value even from a depressed price. And I don't know. I don't have that much faith that, I mean, for one thing, like, why didn't they draft Dylan Gabriel? Why didn't they draft Shedeur Sanders? How is it the case that their backup is Zach Wilson?
Yeah,
That's
they definitely
crazy.
should have drafted. Well, they probably weren't expecting Dylan Gabriel to be the 98th overall pick or whatever.
Maybe they thought but like, guys, like,
they got Quinn Ewers
backup.
They got Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, well, that goes to my point, actually. Is that like this? If Tua gets hurt, this offense is going to be completely dysfunctional yet again. Yet again. They refuse to have a backup for the quarterback constantly missing time because of concussion stuff. And they also refuse to have a decent offensive line. Like, how are they not the Bears this offseason? Just being like, the only way this works is if we can protect this guy. We're going to have to put the entire offense, the entire offseason needs to go into developing the offensive line. Nope. We'll draft one dude. It'll be fine. Like, this is just stupid. The way this team is designed is just like, it's not in touch with the reality of their situation. Tua is very likely to miss games unless you can protect him. The only thing that is in touch with that reality is them getting the ball out ultra quick to underneath guys. And that doesn't really, it could suit Waddle. That's how he was used as a rookie. But since then, he's been used further downfield, and it just sucks for him if the offense ends up being kind of this Mickey Mouse stuff that goes to other guys now.
Can't we just put a Mickey Mouse hat on him, though?
And that's up to Mike. I don't know. Mike seemed pretty happy with who was wearing the Mickey Mouse ears last year.
I still believe in a guy that had 2.52, 2.46 yards per route run in the previous 2 seasons and is still just 26 years old. I don't know. I can't get on board with having him much low into the 8th round to start up.
I'll happily pay a 3rd round pick for him next year when he's 27. Happily do that.
He's not even worth a 3rd round pick. He's
next year.
He's Jaylen Waddle. I guess
next
he's
year.
Just not.
Yeah, Jaylen Waddle's going to mean something different after 2 seasons of this crap.
Look, man, I've been losing money on Jaylen Waddle for 2 years. I'm going to keep doing it.
Big delta here on Jameson Williams with
upside. If you're right, I get even more in 2026.
He's actually someone I'm more nervous about.
I still can't acquire him at my ranking. I've been desperately trying to. He's been like my biggest buy of the offseason, and I've not been successful.
Yeah, my recommendation to those people is maybe trade some to Jakob. Don't he should not be untouchable right now. I think in best, I'm
I
more
gotta
worried about
run
him in best
soon, but if
ball.
you want to do one or two names,
Yeah,
I can
why
do
do
one
you
or two
hate
names.
Jameson Williams? Let's do that, and then we can get you out of here.
What? Get out of here with these like deep threat non-wide receivers. I don't care.
You just touted Jaylen Waddle, bro.
You just
He's had a 2.5 yards per route run and like a 26% targets per route run in multiple seasons.
Jameson Williams,
that was 2 years
Jameson
ago.
Williams is just Xavier Worthy, except I have literally zero possible fear of upside. He's behind Jahmyr Gibbs. He's still dealing with Sam Laporta, who's kind of dead, but not totally dead. He's way behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's not a complete player. He's a good player. He's an efficient player. But like, he's just, to me, like a worse version of the Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, everybody, demonstrably so. I have no fear about this ranking whatsoever.
I would buy him, I think, if that was the case. I think that he's in this nice little spot where he's had this very weird NFL career, and he's, I think, been steadily building towards something. I mean, he had 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns last year on 69 touches, receptions plus rushes. I think I'm you know, the vibe I get about Jameson Williams, it's not the same because the pure ceiling is not that high, but it would just be you remember at the beginning of Tyreek's career, you just have like Levitan getting on, like all the nerds would be like, he can't keep getting away with this. And then he kept easily getting away with it.
Ty Fluke.
Yes. That is the vibe I get for Jameson. He can't keep getting away with it. And then Teddy Bridgewater comes in and hands him the ball and he just scores a 70-yard touchdown. One of the most unbelievable plays I can ever remember, that playoff game.
I mean, he's a really good player. I have like a lot of respect for like what he does for an NFL offense. I have him on my Madden franchise right now. He has 43 yards per reception. It's unreal.
Okay. Stay woke. Stay woke to the Madden franchise.
I'm now gonna need to like just every time you cite a stat, be like in real life, right? Not
in real life, not in your Madden franchise.
I've started calling it the Jameson when he finishes the game with 175-1. But that is also kind of his role in real life. Like he only had what he had. Let me take a look here. Yeah, not 92 targets last year. So like, all right, that's less than Quentin Johnston for reference. I feel like he kind of already got the ceiling of what he is, and I don't know how he gets more volume. Like, look at this offense. Like, are you going to take targets away from Amon-Ra? Are you taking more targets away from?
I think it's actually
you're taking targets away from Gibbs, who doesn't already get that many. Like, there's already a bunch of dudes that they want to put the ball in the hands of. I don't know how you maximize Jameson's role more than it already was. They just traded 3 years of third-round picks for Isaac Doge.
Well, I think he's going to take care of himself. Actually, you kind of want Tesla on the field because he'll never earn a target. Just like
that's good for him.
Tim Patrick got 44 targets last year. I'm saying let's call that. Those are rookie numbers, buddy. Let's see if we can get 1 target per game while starting every game. We might get 18 games, 80% route participation, 1 target per game for Mr. Tesla.
So who loses if Jameson is 120 targets this year?
St. Brown.
Maybe that would be a different offense.
And hear me out here.
He's very good.
Hear me out. Maybe Ben Johnson leaves. They're a little bit less efficient. Instead of throwing 539 passes, Jared Goff throws like closer to the 605 that he did in 2023. That feels
right.
pretty
so it's really good when
you
scale back efficiency. That'll definitely help the guy who relied on 11.5 yards per target.
You're the one complaining about volume, Jacob. This is literally you. You're the one whining. Everyone else just is happy to go, that guy's fun. That boy nice. And you're saying, how can he get the ball more? Right? And I'm explaining to you, there are many paths.
That's why I have these smelling herbs in my deviated septum. I'm trying to clear out my nostrils. They're from Thailand. Yeah.
I gave you the path. I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink.
I'm not drinking the Jameson.
Part of the appeal,
I am, but not this Jameson.
Part of the appeal with Jameson Williams is that like if he were to earn more targets, it would make the offense like more exciting and explosive and probably better. Like him taking more. And
That's fair.
last year, I wasn't particularly bullish on Williams. I didn't like full fade him, but he was definitely a fade, and he was a hit. In retrospect, it's like, yeah, why can't this guy establish himself as the number 2 in the offense over a tight end? We're drafting Laporta as the tight end 1 overall, and is this dude lurking behind him who takes a step forward? And now we're drafting Amon-Ra as this target dominant wide receiver 1. I wouldn't be shocked if Williams ate into that a little bit, because the type of targets that he offers are better targets for an NFL offense. Like they're going to add more value if he's open. Like if they're seeing it like this dude, we need to design the offense to get him the ball more, because he's beating his guy, and when he beats his guy, he can take it to the house. So that's the upside. The downside for me is like there was kind of like rumors about like him getting traded and stuff. That is where, because I think the upside really does come from play calling, an offensive design, scheme built around, let's get Jameson Williams the ball more downfield. I don't trust Goff to do it on his own. He's happy if you just give him plays where he's going to be able to pepper Amon-Ra short. He'll happily do it all day. So it has to be a little bit more of like an emphasis by the offensive coordinator. I don't really have any real sense of if that's going to happen, but the trade rumors make it kind of lean bearish. And then you lose Ben Johnson, so you have to worry about the offensive design overall maybe looking worse. So
do you think that's why they drafted the Department of Offensive Efficiency to come in and be like, look, you paid 3 third-round picks to draft me, and I've decided like Jameson targets are more efficient, so we're gonna furlough 30 Amon-Ra St. Brown targets. We're gonna give those to Jameson Williams.
I wonder why he insists it's pronounced Tesla. I wonder why.
I will be calling it the Department of Offensive Efficiency all year.
Sounds too complimentary, frankly, for someone you don't plan on liking.
Look, he's not going to be the one to catch the ball. He's just coming in and he's just appraising the situation. He's just allocating the targets in the more efficient manner.
What if we pronounce it?
He's not allocating any to himself. Don't worry.
Department of Offensive Efficiency. We could pronounce that doof.
Doof. Doof.
What if we call him doof?
Pretty close to goof.
Yeah. Doof.
All right. Jacob, thinking about thinking, you just posted all your dynasty rankings, so rookie stuff, tiered stuff,
I'll update them with Xavier Worthy ranked less cowardly. I promise.
Okay, I will be
Jameson
doing
Williams down slightly just now.
Yeah,
I'll move him up.
I plan on redoing.
Meet you in the middle.
We're trading right now.
We're trading. Kerrane, legendary upside. What do you guys have going on?
Legendary upside. So we just posted a dynasty rankings refresh, but I'm gonna refresh the refresh with this because I made some changes as we were going. Rookie rankings as well. The rookies are in the dynasty rankings, but if you just want to check out the rookie rankings on their own, we got those up as well. And yeah, best ball rankings for DraftKings and Underdog. I'm working on doing eliminator rankings. Hoping to have those relatively soon in the next couple weeks ish. And you're supposed to wait till the schedule, I've been told, with eliminator. So when the schedule comes out, hopefully that'll sync up with that. And then if you're looking for dynamic best ball rankings, we have a tool called the Sidekick. You can check out legendaryupside.com/sidekick.
Yep. All right. I will also have updated rookie rankings and dynasty rankings. If you're watching this the day it comes out, probably tonight, I'll get those out there. Patreon.com/Davis Mattek. Make sure that you're subscribed to Thinking About Thinking. Make sure you subscribe to legendaryupside.com. If you made it to the end of this video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. And we will see all of you whenever we decide to do this again, probably sometime this summer.